fairly similar. There's a few things different here and there, but overall it's fairly similar to Mach 1s I've driven in the past. So a bit of an experiment going on for Kyle Cummins in this Glenn Steyer's Racing chassis, which, don't forget, he drives for that team part-time in the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Championship, and Glenn Steyer's been a big supporter of Kyle the last couple of years, so keep an eye on that GSR chassis, Avante windows, and door 3P rolling from the inside of the front row here in Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1.
And to let it know, we're looking for greenbacks, not loonies.
Man, he had a stellar weekend here last year at Macon Speedway during Top Gun. Although it did end up upside down for one of those, he still landed on the podium, which I would say figuratively, not literally, figuratively landed on the podium. I would say still a pretty solid way to bring it home.
So you could say literally, too.
You could. I won't, but you could.
One win on the season, that was a local variety at Lincoln Park. That was on April 27th. So looking for his first win here with the USAC AMSO Sprint Car National Championship. 18 times he has been a winner with this series. 15 times he has been a quick qualifier in Honest Abe Roofing qualifying. He goes for the pole here in Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1. Shane Cottle out of Kansas, Illinois, the Epperson Painting number 2E, going to line up next to him. His last outing was the Josh Burton Memorial on May 24th, finished 10th in the feature event. Last year was in a semi-feature on night number 1. So we'll see how he does from the right of row number 1. Driving the inside of row number 2 out of Anaheim, California, the Snake Enterprises, DRC. Naming Swanson, number 5T, Jake Swanson. Of course, he was in the 2B for the first part of the season. That team going ahead and parting ways this week. And Jake bringing a car that he has a lot of success in. You and Drake touched on that during the opening.
Yeah, we did. And Jake is obviously, he's been very hands-on with this 5T team, and him and Joe Daming, who we lost earlier in the year, were very close, and they spent a lot of time going up and down the road together, working on this race car together. So Jake has a pretty intimate knowledge of the race car, the package, the way that things are working on that car, and you can just tell he looks really comfortable tonight. So we're going to get them stacked up behind the Toyota Racing Development Pace truck for Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1. And as these heat races progress, there will be a little bit more room for passing. So this one might be a little bit trickier for some of those guys who are mired back a little bit further in the lineup.
So 10 times, again, everybody can move on into the feature event tonight, but you still want to be inside that top 6 in order to establish your starting position in the lineup. Of course, the front 3 rows reserved for the fastest 6 qualifiers transferring on through their heat races. They'll be inverted, so your quick qualifier that transfers on will start 6 in the feature event.
In this case, that could be Jason Persley. If he transfers out of this Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1, then he would be starting 6th in tonight's main event.
As I believe Drake York down trackside with the report.
Joey Amantia had an issue in Dirt Draft Hot Labs where he believed he lost a cylinder. That indeed was the case, but there was enough time to swap into his backup car before Honest Abe Roofing qualifying. He was 22nd on the field. Not how he wanted to do with that backup car, but we'll see what he can do from shotgun on the field here.
Thank you very much.
Kyle Cummins going to tighten the belts before we come to the green flag.
Not a bad idea as they work up a turn number 4 to the NOS Energy start. Can we go to green?
Shane Cottle with a pretty good start to the outside. Too good of a start there, I say.
Yeah, caution light's going to come on. They're going to bring it back and try it again. That front row, they need to be as even as possible when they come around to the NOS Energy start can. And there's going to be some penalties assessed here. They're going to crisscross the field. Jake Swanson now going to go to the outside of the front row. CJ Leary going to drop to the inside of row number 2, and they'll move Shane Cottle back to the 4th starting spot. So we'll try it again. Official down there again, reiterating this is the starting point for these drivers.
Side by side, nose to tail, through that initial starting zone.
And we don't have what you would call a start box. It's not like you can actually pick up speed before that. That is the starting point. It takes all the gray area, takes all the confusion out. That's where you fire from. So we'll see How they do this time. Off at turn number 4, much better as they go to green.
Jake Swanson going to try to take advantage of that outside front row starting position. Gets a really good run on Kyle Cummins as they get bunched up back in the field.
Swanson going to come around to lead lap number 1, battle for the second spot. The throttle working to the inside, and he is finessing it right now. At the line, it was Cummins, but barely as they continue to work side by side onto the back straightaway. The Avante windows and doors number 3 up to the top shelf. Cottle still working around the bottom.
Shane Cottle really going to pick to that bottom side of the racetrack, as that's where he finds most of his advantages in racing in general. He's going to continue to haunt the three-peat of Kyle Cummins.
Working up to the top side, trying to chase down your leader. Now you got Dason Person, the Team Arizona Racing. Beaver Stripes number 21, going to diamond it down off of turn number 1. Finds the bottom exit, turn number 2, and not quite wide enough to shoot the gap, though, as he'll roll topside once again through 3 and 4. Cottle still right there lurking, trying to get up and grab some silver. Ooh, look out. Short slide. He kept it going, but the caution lights had already come on.
Yeah, so that'll change some things, and that makes Kyle Cummins the caution car. So Kyle Cummins going to have to drop some positions here on this restart.
Boy, Cottle went in. He cleared. It was just really, really tight. So Jake Swanson going to lead. We'll get a look at the replay here on the FloRacing broadcast. Cottle, again, you tag bumper to bumper. He was cleared. Unfortunately, the caution being called for.
So Kyle Cummins able to keep the 3P rolling, which makes that an inadvertent yellow. So he's going to resume position where he was able to continue keeping the car rolling, as you're seeing on your screen there on FloRacing.
So blending in, he doesn't go all the way to the back, is an inadvertent caution because he was able to keep the car going. It never stopped forward momentum. So they blend him back into the lineup, so that saves him from losing 2 more here as we get ready to go back to green. 6 laps remain. Swanson brings it back to speed.
Another good start for Jake Swanson in the 5T. Dason Pursley going to try to find a little bit more speed on the top side of the racetrack around Shane Cottle.
Boy, Dason, he's been doing that line of 1 and 2. He's going in and he's cutting it down, doing a diamond maneuver across there and trying to find the bottom. Didn't go down quite as much as he had in previous laps that time. As they work onto the back straightaway, Cottle trying to set sights. He pulled it up alongside Jake, just wasn't able to get the run to get by him. Oh, look out.
Another misfortune for Kyle Cummins. This time not going to pan out as well. The front axle's broken on that one.
Got to coming to a stop in front of him. He had to woe it up, and unfortunately spun it around, actually cocked the car skywards, and the concern there was a Mantia came in and hit him with the right side of the car. And doesn't look like much damage, but that was a pretty solid hit.
Looks like the left rear is down on the 15 of Carson Garrett, so he's going to make his way around, I believe, and head to the Indy Metal Finishing Work area during Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1.
That all starting with the 15, so I have to wonder if that was not the culprit that actually sent him cattywampus over in turns 3 and 4. So they will get the hook over to the Avante Windows and Doors machine.
Just saw a quick replay there on FloRacing on your screen. Carson Garrett getting into turns number 3 and 4, kind of just chalking the brakes up on the bottom side of the racetrack, which then sent Kyle Cummins into the back of the 15, got Kyle Cummins turned around, and Joey Amanti had nowhere to go.
It was hard to tell there. Like I said, he was on the brakes, but it looked like as he was on the brakes, that left side was dropped down.
It's possible that the left rear was going down before that incident.
And Drake down to the infield, not sure if he has a report. He was able to go up and take a gander. And car on the hook here. And looks like Drake maybe with a report down trackside.
Brian, I didn't get a fantastic look at the 3P at Kyle Cummins. Obviously, the main area of concern at least as far as the 4 tires go, as that left front tire is knocked off the bead. But the quick look I did get at the right front, it looked like the torsion arm was knocked off of where it's supposed to be. So I would assume that is what also put Kyle Cummins on the hook, excuse me. But this heat race just went from good to bad to worse for Kyle Cummins.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Drake. Check your radio.
Kind of just a bummer start here to this Top Gun weekend for Kyle Cummins.
So field ready to get back after here. Again, single file past the NOS Energy start can. Off at turn number 4, we go back to green.
Jake Swanson going to have a little bit more company out of Shane Cottle this time, but not before Jason Pursley catches up to the 2E.
Boy, Cottle got tight going to turn number 1, shot the car at the racetrack. Pursley thought he was going to get a run to the inside. Cottle able to recover pretty quick, though, as Cottle really having to throw that car in. Pursley moving his line around once again in turns 1 and 2. Goes to the inside of 3. Can't quite get the car to stick all the way to the bottom. Has to settle back to that 3rd spot.
Jake Swanson really starting to pull some distance now as he gets around sort of the middle top part of the racetrack pretty well in the 5T. Jason Pursley still looking for a way around the 2E. CJ Leary now enters the chat and gets into the inside of the 21AZ.
On to the back straightaway for the final time here. They work into turn 3. Cottle going to try to get a run up at turn number 4. denied. He'll fly the front end of the checker flag. Jake Swanson going to grab the heat race win. Shane Cottle in 2nd. Jason Pursley in 3rd. CJ Leary in 4th. Joey Amantia in 5th. Carson Gare with the final transfer into the feature for the inversion. Harley Burns and Kyle Cummins unofficially rounding out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, out of Anaheim, the Snake Enterprises, DRC, fine line drafting, number 5T race fans. Give him a hand, Jake Swanson, as we take it down to Drake.
Got to be a gratifying win for Anaheim, California's Jake Swanson, as he's your winner in Simpson Race Products heat race number 1. It's his 4th heat race win on the season, but he's been in the news a lot this week for coming over to the 5T after things between Jake and 2B Racing went their separate ways. And Jake, you get a call that you probably weren't hoping for during the week. You put together the 5T, of course, starting Daming Swanson Motorsports, and now you're sitting here in heat race victory lane. How gratifying is this for you to come out here with the new car and still be fast?
It's incredibly gratifying. Nothing like putting together a race team in a week and having a good race car. I can't thank the Damings enough for the opportunity to put this together. Joe passed away unexpectedly in March, the owner of this car, this program, and we won a lot of races together as a local team, and hopefully we can turn this program into a national caliber race team. I know we are. I know we can be, and I'm just so thankful for them for the opportunity, and Snake Enterprises, Chris, Uncle Chris, Kyle, Country Kyle for coming out. All these people have put together their lunch money to enable us to go race. So appreciative for all these people to to put in and do what we know we can do.
Jake Swanson still's got his friend Joe Daming riding on the side of the 5T as he's your winner in Simpson Race Products heat race number 1.
Thank you very much. Ron and Supply heat race number 2, staging out to the Speedway. Driver of the pole, this one's out of Pleasant Hill, Ohio. The Ray Marshall Motorsports, Cressman DRC number 33. It's going to be Matt Westfall. Landing up next to him, Mario Klauser. He's out of Auburn, Illinois. Driving the Yokohama Tire, Claxton Maxim. Klauser Auto Repair number 6. Next row from the inside, Justin Grant and the NOS Energy Boat Foundation MPV Express Kistler Maxim number 4. The driver out of Ione, California. And outside of him, you'll find Wesley Smith at Anixa, Missouri. The Honest Abe Roofing, Claxton DRC, Benning Enterprises number 2B. Next row from the inside, the 19AZ, it's going to be Mitchell Moles. He's out of Raisin City, California. The AME Electrical, Messiah Valley Transportation, Reinbold Underwood Motorsports entry. And outside of him, Logan Seavey out of Sutter, California. The MPV Express, Abacus Racing, Stanton DRC Chassis, Indy Custom Stone, number 57. Final row for the inside, 7 starting spots, going to be Hunter Maddox out of Bedford, Indiana. The Auto Credit Airmaster Heating and AC Cummings, DRC Chassis, number 24M. And your final starter is going to be Hayden Harvey out of Warrensburg, Illinois. The JS Farm Spec Maxim Short Furniture Company, Prolu Prop Shop, number 8. So that'll be your lineup again in Rod Supply Heat Race number 2 of 3 here tonight. It is night number 1 at Top Gun Weekend here at the mighty Macon Speedway. If you're just joining us here on the FloRacing broadcast, getting a look at what has turned into a lovely sunset here tonight.
Not so lovely a little while ago when Drake and I were hosting pre-race down in the infield and it was raining on my head. That I did not appreciate. But alas, we're here.
She got a hold of a blow dryer and some conditioner and has calmed down the mane.
Not quite. Maybe later.
Tamed the mane.
So just don't judge me. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no, we're not. It's not quite to hat and ponytail.
Not quite.
This humidity has fluffed my beard.
So you get it.
I do.
So Simpson Race Products heat race number 1, quite eventful for 10 short laps around Macon Speedway.
This place, it's the second shortest track we go to all year. Of course, we're just coming off of the shortest at Action Track USA. Not a lot of difference in terms of size. This one a little bit wider and maybe just a tick sweepier, though.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit more forgiving. Maybe not with today after the rain, and Mason personally mentioned it in his Honest Abe Roofing Fast Time interview. Just a little bit more choppy, on the choppy side, just because of the rain, and naturally that tends to happen to racetracks. And so maybe less forgiving today than it tends to be in the past, but at Action Track, I know it had everybody a little bit more on edge than they seem to be here today.
Well, remember Action Track, it was slick up to the wall immediately. We kind of saw that line last night as they had the Dirt Car Summer Nationals, the Hell Tour coming in with the late models, and that's what it did. It just progressed all the way to where the cars almost could not get on the cushion unless they risked the decking off the car.
And that's the point right there, is they race late models here at Macon Speedway. So that tells you everything you need to know about whether or not sprint cars are capable of running good, clean laps around this place.
I joked around on social media last night saying if we can run late models and sprint cars here, we got to run Silver Crown and Red Dirt.
And why not?
I'm for it. Be an homage to the 100-inch car days of NCRA. Speaking of Silver Crown, they're going to be back in action next week. Sumar Classic down at Terre Haute Action Track will be hosting the USAC Silver Crown Champ Car Series this coming week. Before we get to that, though, the rescheduled Levi Jones Classic down at Red Hill. Just a short drive down the road and a nice another $10,000 payday up for grabs for these drivers.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And obviously paying homage to Levi Jones, something really important to the AMSL USAC National Sprint Car Series in general, to USAC in general, and excited to get over there, see that place, and celebrate Levi.
The only bummer, when it was originally scheduled at the start of the year, we're going to have the two-seater.
And that would have been cool, because Levi probably would have driven it.
Yes, we don't get the two-seater this time.
I've always said, if I'm going to get in the two-seater, it's not with anybody unless it's Levi, because I don't think I trust anybody else.
Really?
Really?
Paging CJ.
I've told him that. I think he gets it.
No, it's funny you mentioned that. Ashley Ward, who's the chief of timing and scoring at Tulsa Expo Raceway, of course, her husband is the boss of everything and is a racer. And she said forever, I'm not getting in the car with him.
Too comfortable. Here we go.
Meanwhile, back in heat race number 2, they make their way off of turn number 4 around the NOS Energy start can. And Westfall going to take them off into turn number 1, but it's going to be Klauser on the outside taking off of the race lead as they shoot to the back straightaway.
So Justin Grant going to get a little bit sideways in the middle of turns number 3 and 4 as he tries to catch up to the 2B of Wesley Smith, who's right on the tail tank of the 33M of Matt Westfall.
Like downtown, trying to push the car in front of you just to begging him to make the pass here. The 2B not able to get there. In fact, the car gets tied on the middle of turns 3 and 4. That allows the 4 to go to make his way by. So Grant going to take over the third spot. Seavey now working to the inside. Here comes Moles as well in 19. Up front, though, it is still Klauser in command.
Matt Westfall being able to pick up some ground on Mario Klauser. Justin Grant right there. Car gets a little bit tight on him now, and he loses some space.
Matt Westfall taking it back to Indiana after we got rained out up in Wisconsin and going to work. And really able to find some speed and able to find some better grip in the car, and it's showing in the heat race. Did get a little tight that time, lost the spot to Justin Grant, but really excited to get into tonight and see how the car performs as he has got him coming after him now. The 57 Logan Seavey, the 19 Mitchell Moles. They have dropped Wesley Smith back to the transfer spot.
We're nearly 4 wide coming out of turn 4 that last time around as Wesley Smith and Mitchell Moles going to do battle here for this second to last transfer position, and Mitchell Moles can't quite get past the 2B just yet.
Back up front, Klauser with the advantage right now. Justin Grant chasing him into turns 1 and 2 as we will have 2 to go this time, and they make their way off of turn number 4. Ooh, caution light's going to come on. Got one parked down in the mud. A little bit of a swamp just off of the racetrack there inside of turn number 3. Shrek will ask you kindly to leave.
And that's Hayden Harvey, who's making his AMSL USAC National Sprint Car debut tonight.
Hayden, one of the drivers moving up out of the micro ranks over the years. In fact, picked up a win here earlier this year, April 12th in an Outlaw Micro. His last outing before this weekend was up at Jacksonville in Race Saver competition with a 5th place finish. So Mario Klauser in the 6. Now they're going to have to roll him down around the bottom, as that did splash some of that moisture out of the racing surface. Have the drivers go down and assess and make sure everything is good to go in the entrance of turn number 3. So we'll see what the Yokohama Tire Claxon Max and number 6 machine can do here when we go back to green. Finished 12th here 1 year ago. Was one of the drivers in action last night at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. Walked away with an 11th place finish on the pavement.
And as we approach this restart, Mario Klauser is going to have to reevaluate some things, as he's now got two-time national championship winner Justin Grant right behind him.
Grant, a little bit of a rough run last year during prelim competition, finished 20th. 50 career USAC National Sprint Car victories to his credit as they make their way out for turn number 4 past the NOS Energy start can. Still 3 laps remain in this one.
Logan Seavey right to the top side of the racetrack, where he picked up his USAC NOS Energy Drink National Midget win just last year. On the latter half of the day, earlier that morning, he picked up the Champ Car win over at Springfield.
And you called it. You're going to have to reevaluate. Well, he didn't quite evaluate fast enough. Oh, look out. 2B thought he was going to go skyward for a second. At the discount Joey Chitwood show going on over turns 1 and 2. Brings it back under control. But back to the subject, Justin Grant on the restart was able to slip by for the top spot. He's going to work into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Checker flag going to drop in this one for Justin Grant in 4. Logan Seavey in second. Mario Klauser ends up in third. Mitchell Moles in fourth. Matt Westfall, Wesley Smith. Those 6 drivers up to the invert. Hayden Harvey and Hunter Maddox unofficially rounding out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Ione, California, the NOS Energy Drink Kistler Maxim Pro Source Top Industries number 4 race fans. Give him a hand, Justin Grant. As with that, we'll take it down trackside to Drake.
JG, Justin Grant had a weekend here during Top Gun weekend that he definitely wanted to forget about. We can go on and on about maybe the trials and tribulations of that week, but Justin, it was not your year here last year at Macon with the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Car Championship. This NOS Energy Drink Top Motorsports number 4 looks like it's on rails right now. So what have you guys changed from last year that's working so well here tonight?
No, I don't know, all sorts of stuff. But no, I just got to thank Top Motorsports, Kevin Birchmeyer, NOS Energy Drink, MPV Express, Pro Source, Indy Custom Stone. Everybody makes it possible for me to be here. And yeah, no, it was really bad last year when we showed up here. Jeff Walker, it was his first weekend together, and he got me going on the right track. And we've been struggling a little bit this year. But the thing about Jeff is he's not going to let you struggle for long. He'll get us figured out and keep my head in the game, and we'll be back to winning races.
Justin Grant makes a late move to get the win in Rod and Supply Heat Race number 2.
It's like we mentioned, two-time national champion with the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Car Series, Justin Grant. Going to roll away after picking up a heat race win here tonight that's going to greatly improve his starting position, as we have 40 laps around Macon Speedway tonight, and Justin Grant going to have a much better seat for that one.
So 2 in, 1 to go. TJ Ford heat race number 3 onto the Speedway. Driver to Terre Haute, Indiana on the pole this one. And the Maddox Heating and Cooling Gressman Deer seat number 28 is going to be Brandon Maddox. Next to him, Robert Blue at Rockland, California. The Suburban Subaru, Donna DRC Chassis, Hinchman Indy, Dragonfly Aviation number 12. Next row from the inside, that's going to be Kevin Thomas Jr. to Coleman, Alabama. The Inferno Armor Lynch Machining, Eddie Gilstrap Motors, Rocksteady Racing number 3R. And from the 4th starting spot, Anton Hernandez out of Arlington, Texas. The Baldwin Fox Racing, Velocita, Fox Paving, Boer Farms, number 5. The N2, that's going to be Nick Harris out of Atlanta, Illinois, driving the KRJ Race Products, Automotive Machine Power, DRC Chassis, number N2. And next to him, it will be Brady Bacon out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, driving the Telstar Technologies, Davis Brothers, Ryder XXX Chassis, Hobson Family, number 69. Final row from the inside, the 17 GP is going to be Jaden Rogers out of Worthington, Indiana, Lifestyle Homes, Michael Dutcher Motorsports entry. And rounding out your lineup here in TJ Ford's heat race number 3, set to be driver out of Kansas, Illinois, driving the KCBJ Motorsports, AJ Filker powered Maxim number 8D. That'll be Colton Cottle, as that'll be your lineup again for TJ Ford's heat race number 3 with the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship. There's a bright light in the sky all of a sudden.
What is that?
Where have you been?
Well, here comes the sun, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. So drivers kind of rolling around right now, get things rolled in just a little bit more here before TJ Ford's heat race number 3, particularly that bottom over in 3 and 4 where we saw Hayden Harvey get turned around and splash some of that more yucky stuff up into the racetrack. So kind of get that blown off so that they have a more smooth, clean racing surface, less greasy, and it shouldn't take too long here. If you wanted me to karaoke, you could have just said it.
Beatlemania?
Yes.
Now we know. Here comes the sun.
That was pretty good.
Usually try to sing so low nobody can hear me. Letting the drivers assess the racing surface right quick. So again, Brandon Maddox on the pole here in heat race number 3, brought to you by TJ Forge. If you're just joining us here on the FloRacing broadcast. And Christy had mentioned it, that little splash down to the infield by Hayden Harvey during his heat race. Wanted to let the drivers go ahead and come out and hot lap and make sure everything good to go here before we roll into our next flight of competition.
And you know what helps with that?
The sun.
The sun.
So instead of here comes the sun, is there goes the sun.
And it's going. It's going away.
Okay, so we know how to get you to karaoke. We play the Beatles.
That's right. Anything Beatles, I'm in.
May have to throw on some Joe Diffie later.
That's you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That and Brooks are done.
Noted.
So Maddox will bring him to green. Robert Ballou lining up next to him. Ballou, 5 wins on the season.
And this surface much different than the one he won on at Eldora Speedway
Yes.
a few months ago. So a pretty big change of scenery here for the 12 of Robert Ballou, but going to start on the front row of this heat race and try to vie for a win here, which is not a change of scenery so much.
Quite a few local victories, like you mentioned, got the win up at Eldora.
I believe most recently Kokomo.
Yes, and that was a beatdown. That was the
It
final
was,
night of
yeah. Took him to school on that one.
Indiana Midget Week. The 410s were in competition. As we go to green, speaking of beatdowns, Robert Ballou going to try to go ahead and get going early here as they work into turns 3 and 4. Anton Hernandez going up about a car width higher than anybody into turn 3. Does the same thing in turn 2. Going to diamond it down with a wheel stand to the back straightaway.
Anton Hernandez carrying a ton of speed. Just as I say that, gets a little bit caught up on the cushion, gets the car straightened out, and is going to have to try and recover.
He had her going. She just didn't want to go with him, though, as they work onto the back straightaway. That does allow the 28 to move back up into the second spot here as they work through turns 3 and 4. Not quite as high that time. Instead, rolls it right up on the cushion. Goes ahead and goes about a right rear's width up into the fluff there into turn number 1. Still right there. The battle for second's got 4 cars. Oh, Anton, look out. She finally bit back on him. And upside down he goes. The throttle was hung open a little bit there. It started to kind of leach the car around. He does finally get it to come to a stop. The steering wheel already had been tossed out of that number 5.
And most of the damage, if there is any at all, would have probably been from that stuck throttle and the way that it had to kind of roll backwards. They don't like to do that, go backwards. So, but a pretty easy tip over in terms of being upside down, I suppose.
So Anton out of the car and able to walk away. Nobody can say he wasn't giving it his all.
No, you saw it just from the initial start right there. It was clear as day how much speed he was carrying on the top side of the racetrack. Not willing to give that up at all.
Trying to go where they were not. Drake York is down trackside. We'll see if we can get a word with him.
Yeah. Well, I've caught up with Anton, and as you said, Brian, good news is Anton's out of the race car. And like Brian said, no one can't say you were going for it. So what happened down here in turn number 3?
I just got too much into fluff and got on the wall. It didn't look like too bad of a flip, so hopefully nothing's too hurt and we can get back out there. But track's really cowboy up right now, and I'm just trying to make something happen there. We have the speed, just gotta, I think I just need to calm down a little bit, but we're fast, just gotta keep her out the wall.
A for effort for Anton Hernandez aboard the Baldwin Fox Racing number 5. Good news is he is up and out of the race car.
Thank you very much. Get a look at the FloRacing replay here as, again, like you said, just went up a little bit too high and caught the wall. And like I said, the concern there with the throttle still kind of hung on it. It was bouncing that car around.
Yeah, so definitely take a look at the rear end on that one.
Get a look, they slow it down a little bit here. As right rear first, sucks the front end around, and then doesn't look like it. You can see the front tires all moving in tandem as they're supposed to. So, of course, from this distance, hard to see what's going on. So, like you said, hopefully not too much damage.
Yeah, give it a good look over either way, but Anton Hernandez up and out of the car quickly there.
So 3 laps officially completed. 7 to go. Robert Ballou, your race leader. Brandon Maddox running in 2nd. Kevin Thomas Jr. going to take over 3rd. Brady Bacon in 4th. Jaden Rogers in 5th. And that'll move Colton Cottle up into the transferring positions. And Nick Harris now 1 spot shy, going to round out your field.
So Nick Harris, with a really solid qualifying effort, came home 6th in Honest Abe Roofing qualifying. And if that means if he does earn one of those top 6 positions, he's going to start on the pole of this thing tonight.
You know, and the interesting thing about that, he ran a little different line than anybody. Everybody else was going really in deep on the cushion. He actually stayed down off of it a little bit, and it paid off for him. And like you said, got him that 6th place qualifying spot. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get the position as we get another look from the infield. And from the top, it looked like he really stuffed the right front up into the wall. And when you look at it from that angle, actually was able to climb it up over, as it is absolutely spewing coolant as he went upside down.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a bend there on the right front on the axle just from the way it landed, and then continued trying to go backwards there. But, of course, hard to say. So, yeah, either way, I'm sure they're going to give it a pretty thorough look over.
So the field refiring. Robert Ballou has admitted qualifying, not quite his game. But
Heat races, though.
Oh, yeah. He's got 5 so far this year.
Yeah, go ahead.
CV and Bacon, each with 6.
All right, sounds good.
Jaden Rogers, Matt Westfall, Kevin Thomas, Robert Ballou, and Justin Grant, all with 5.
And so Robert Ballou there in those first 3 laps really did set down quite faster laps than the rest of the field, and it's a little bit more advantageous for him to have that clean racetrack in front of him, not having to battle with other cars or avoid any obstacles in front of him. But nonetheless, the 12 really comfortable right now on Macon Speedway.
Wonder if he's having to kind of look back and kind of grab some memories out of the bag of where he started, of course, on the short tracks of Southern California. So this kind of up his alley, so to speak. Of course, driver to Terre Haute, Indiana. Talk about a world of difference. This track could fit in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, no kidding. And Brandon Maddox going to acclimate pretty well here, running 2nd in this CJ Forge heat race number 3, like Drake mentioned earlier. Tough start to the day. So I think just putting this thing through the checkered flag tonight would be a win for him.
Exactly. Got here 5 minutes of the driver's meeting, and like you said, probably the only one that was thankful to see we had a delay so we kind of get everything set up and ready to go as we go back to green. Brady Bacon going to take a 3 wide right through the middle, takes over the 3rd spot in 69. Able to work by the 3R. Kevin Thomas Jr. there on the restart. The 17 GP, he was also in that mix as well. He's going to round out your top 5 right now. As I say that, puts the move on Kevin Thomas, and Jaden Rogers going to move back up into 4th.
So Kevin Thomas Jr. going to search for a little bit more here out of his 3R as the 8D of Colton Cottle is making up some ground. Kevin Thomas Jr. might be an issue on that thing.
Boy, that thing is turned about as well as a fully loaded dump truck right now. It has to move up the racetrack. And something going awry on that machine as he has fallen all the way to the back of the field. Up front, though, Robert Ballou, 0.7 of a second his advantage last time around. Comes around to click off lap number 7. As it's nearly a second, 0.974. Brandon Maddox has company. Brady Bacon trying to kick the door in on him and take over that second spot as they work through turns 3 and 4. Bacon down to the bottom, not able to get there in time.
A patient game there for Brady Bacon as he's trying to just pick up enough speed on Brandon Maddox lap after lap to just get by the 28. Meanwhile, Kevin Thomas Jr. back around the 2 end of Nick Harris.
So white flag has flown. Robert Ballou is going to find the back straightaway for the final time here in TJ Ford's heat race number 3. Off into turns 3 and 4. Checker flag going to greet the madman. Brandon Maddox holds on to second. Brady Bacon in third. Jaden Rogers the fourth. Colton Connell and Kevin Thomas Jr. Those 6 drivers up into the inversion.
I have to wonder what happened to the 3R and then what changed, whether it was tuning on the shocks, something that he was able to work with in the cockpit that might have made it just a little bit better in those closing laps, but definitely something was a handful for a majority of that.
Yeah, because all of a sudden that car just absolutely refused to turn. As Robert Ballou going to bring it down to the front straightaway, driver of the Suburban Subaru, done on DRC chassis number 12. Race fans, give him a hand as we go down to Drake.
Thank you so much, Brian. The madman, Robert Ballou, your winner of TJ Forge and Car IQ heat race number 3. And Robert, of the previous 2 heat race winners, this car looked the most comfortable before. What is making this car so comfortable for you right now?
Factory cane shocks and DRC chassis. We've just been trying to fine tune and get a race car back to the way it was probably 2015. So we've done our homework and we've been just a tick off, and hopefully we were a tick off qualifying. The gear was wrong, and hopefully we can just keep leaning on this thing and get this Suburban Subaru Deaton's Waterfront Service Core furniture installation car in victory lane tonight.
Robert Ballou, the madman, with his 6th heat race win on the season, looking large and in charge. He could be a threat here tonight, Brian.
Indeed, thank you very much, as that'll wrap up heat races tonight with the USAC AMSOIL Sprint Car National Championship. As coming up next should be your heat race for the micros.